Well, hello, my paranormal peeps, and welcome back to another Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. My name is Matt Harvey. I am the founder and lead investigator of Deep Woods Paranormal. I'm also the host of the Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. Along with my wife, Amanda, we investigate everything paranormal in nature, be it Bigfoot, UFO, ghosts, haunted locations, aliens, cryptid creatures, river monsters. If it's paranormal in nature, we basically investigate it. So, I am, bear with me here, I am in my truck, I am legal, I'm just buckling up, I am completely hands-free. Excuse my little bit of saliva that came out of my mouth. So, today we're going to be doing a quick little video here. This is only going to be audio and video. It's only going to be about 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, depending on what this recording lets me do. So, let's talk about what's been going on. Amanda and I have been actively investigating a new case. We have a new client, and we are working with him on mainly ghost hunting stuff right now. But supposedly he has Bigfoots on his property. And so we've been actively investigating his property for a couple weeks. We just wrapped up the cattle mutilation slash UFO slash, what's causing it stuff regarding the cattle mutilations. I am under the strong opinion that something is going on. I don't know if it's Big Brother or if it's maybe something, and we're going to go down the rabbit hole here. Let's just say it's aliens from another planet maybe, or some kind of other civilization that has a very advanced system, but I still don't understand why. Let's just say it's aliens, and take this with a grain of salt. I'm just speculating here. Let's just say it's aliens. Why would aliens come in down to Earth and pick up animals and take their eyes, take their tongues, take some of the reproductive organs, and basically just dump the body back and take off? I just don't understand why I would do that. I mean, it's just a mystery at this point. And again, I don't want to get into the show too much, but yeah, Amanda and I spent like 5 weeks just researching that, and then we're still getting leads. We've talked to a couple of different prominent cattle ranchers who are still experiencing the same thing. They're still having their cattle mutilated. And so it's an open case, and I think that's all I'm going to say about that. So let's move on. Bigfoot. I know we have a lot of Bigfoot fans here, so let's talk about Bigfoot. We've got the Bigfoot hat on, so let's talk about Bigfoot. I did say that we were actively investigating on a new client's property. He's got about, I think he said he has 29 acres or something like that. He's got the perfect, I mean, his property reminds me so much of Joe's. If you've seen any of the Joe's shows, the Bigfoot research at Joe's property is like a football field. It's 55 acres, basically in a football shape setup. His family has owned those properties for, I don't know, since pre Civil War. You guys have heard me talk about Joe's camp so many times, but it's just such a special place. I mean, I can't even remember how many Bigfoot sightings I've had, either day or night, on his property. I mean, it's just insane. They just walk out of the bush. It's like, oh, wait, sorry, I'm going to walk back in now. And it's just, you're like, oh, crap. Whenever you're on his property, you constantly have to be carrying a camera, and you have to be recording it almost all the times. And I feel like this new client it's gonna be the same. He's been putting out. He and I have been talking about gifting, and if you don't know what gifting is, essentially gifting is when you leave something out for them to engage you in. And by engage, I mean like you put out apples, sliced apples, or some kind of gift. Maybe you put out marbles. Maybe you put out a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Maybe you put out cookies. Maybe you put out a cross. Maybe you put out all kinds of different other things. And if you're lucky, they'll bring you something back. They'll leave you something, and it's usually strange. It could be anything from like a deer skull to a bone, or like a rock, or several rocks, or they might create some kind of stick figure on the ground, or they might create some kind of symbol on your patio or something with these sticks. Or they might use rocks and they put them in a special pattern or whatever. A lot of the time they steal things like kids' toys and stuff like that. And then, sometimes they get returned, sometimes they don't. And so Joe's camp, we've basically been feeding them corn. Because they basically love to come in and pick up the corn off of the ground from where Joe's corn feeder was, because Joe does hunt on his property. He's legally hunting on his property. He does have a license and all that fun stuff. He and I were talking about me coming out and doing some hunting on his property as well, but that's probably the future. Anyways, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Well, it kind of does. Joe and his cousin, they have a blind. He put it up in a tree, and they were sitting there, and about 50 feet away, deer come right through the middle of his property too. Deer all over his property. There's all kinds of animals on his property. I mean, he's truly in a forest. So deer come right in the middle of his property, and he takes one down. His cousin legally took one down. Before they can even get out of the tree stand, a Bigfoot walks over, grabs a deer, and walks off with it. And they're both just, his cousin had never seen a Bigfoot. He had heard Joe talk about it, and, he was like, what the heck just happened? What just happened? I mean, Joe was telling the story. I was laughing the whole time. It's like, yep. I mean, unless you've actually had an encounter with one, and like I always say, you have to have an encounter where you can say it could be anything else but. And you can put anything in there, paranormal-wise. Ghost, UFO, alien, whatever. In this case, we're putting Bigfoot. But anyways, so yeah, this new client's property kind of reminds me of Joe's. And, it's not as large. It's not set up the same way. But essentially, we were sitting there. Amanda and I went out on was it Saturday? We've been super busy. We're just going crazy trying to get these shows filmed. And I'll tell you what, again, my hat goes off to all the producers and everybody who creates these videos, these shows. It's just me and my wife basically doing it. And it's a lot of work. And we're meeting a lot of new people. We're getting a lot of help. We're getting a lot of support. And thank you to all the new people who keep subscribing to our Rumble channel and our YouTube channel. Thank you for hitting those like buttons. And thanks for, leaving comments. Whether you like the channel, what you don't like the channel, whether you like the content, you don't like the content, that's helpful. Your feedback is helpful. Just be nice about it. And remember, this channel is a PG-13 channel. Number one, we don't want anybody leaving nasty comments. If you want to leave a nasty comment, all my information is down below. My email, my cell phone, all that crap's down below. You can blow me away with whatever. But please don't leave that on the channel, because it won't in the comments. They won't be posted. So anyways, getting back to the point. So his property is kind of interesting. Amanda and I were sitting there, and we were trying to kind of talk to the client and plan out our plan for what we're going to do. And essentially, I heard his tree knock. And so I'm still not sure. I'm not 100% sure there's Bigfoot. I'm not even that. I'm like 40% sure there's possibly Bigfoot's on this property. I'm not 100% sure. I'm about, like I said, about 40% sure. Let me turn the air down so you can hear me a little bit better. Anyways, so we're sitting there, and I'm like, okay. And the client and I both kind of looked at each other. We're like, okay, yep. He's been on this property for about 5 months, so he's used to being out there at night. It's quiet, and it's truly a forested area. It's secluded. There's no cars around. You don't hear any cars. He's not next to a highway. He's not next to anything. He's out very secluded. And like I said, he's got a pond, he's got a little creek, and then he's got a lake on his property, which is perfect for Bigfooting. Bigfoot's, number one, you have to have a food source for them. Now, let's just say, he's got all different types of food source, but there's deer on his property. He's seen them as well. He's definitely seen deer on his property, seen them on his neighbor's property. He has, a water source, multiple water sources. There's cover. So essentially you've got, trees all around where his little single wide trailer is. And it would be real easy to get out into around his property and to be able to look in without pretty much anybody noticing, especially if you had really good night vision. And I'm talking about sight. I'm not talking about like night vision technology or anything. There's a theory that Bigfoots can possibly see in infrared. It's not proven. Nothing Bigfoot is proven. It's all theory at this point. Anyways, so if you could see real well, I mean, you could easily watch him. They've moved around his trailer. They're scaring the living bejesus out of him and stuff like that. So that will be a show. I don't know. I'm working on trying to get stuff done with him to get things finished with that as well. I've got a lot of cases open right now. We have that case, which is pretty much local, actually. We're going to go back to Joe's at some point. We're going to film up and around Joe's, I think, because he's in a Bigfoot hotspot. He lives in East Texas. He lives right on the Texas-Louisiana border. He's like 50 miles from Louisiana. We have the Sam Houston National Forest, which we need to finish up on. We have hair samples that I want to analyze. We'll do that in the show. I do have that little magnifier now so we can see if it's even worth sending those hair samples out. So we're going to basically be working on that. We're working with the Woodbine Hotel, which is one of the most haunted places I've ever been in my life. And I've been through thousands of homes and probably hundreds of different businesses and locations in open areas that were said to be haunted. So that says a lot. Texas seems to have a lot more stronger spirits here than California did and other areas I've been. I would imagine, if you're in England or any of those other European countries where they've had civilization there for longer, I would imagine that it's even better there. Anyways, so and then we're going to be doing I would like to do a lockdown in the jail, and then I also want to do a lockdown back out at I forgot what it's called. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't remember. But anyways, we'll be doing a series of lockdowns. I'll remember it right at the end of the video. So yeah, getting back into Bigfoot. So we're sitting there, and basically all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it sounds like a branch actually was thrown at us. It comes flying across, and I don't think it hit the ground. I think it hit the trees that were next to us. I think it landed in the branches of the tree. Because I heard and it just sounded like something falling through the branches. And I'm like, what the hell? I look over and there's nothing there. The client was saying that he thought it might be acorns, which Joe reports all the time, having acorns thrown at his trailer. So maybe the fact that we were outside, they were throwing them at us, throwing them in our direction. I mean, they weren't trying to harm us in any way. I think they were either trying to get our attention or trying to get us to leave. And then as we were sitting there, now I don't know if this was a deer, but on the other side of his property, there's a barbed wire fence, and then basically he has a grove of trees. Sound familiar? Again, just like Joe's, but a little bit closer than Joe's. And these are, I think they're just pine trees. But there's a barbed wire fence, and he actually has a light post there. And so like basically just a regular wooden light pole with a light on top that pretty much lights up that whole section. You can see on the other side. And there's a gap between the trees, maybe a 3 or 4 foot gap in between the trees and the brush where you can see through the fence, you can see the other side. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I see something white literally kind of come up like this. Almost like it's of a deer kind of went like this. Just kind of pulled its head back, and you could see the white underneath its chin and on its belly. On its neck and stuff. Not maybe the belly. But that's kind of what I saw. I saw something white, and I'm like, what is that? I can't say it was a Bigfoot. I think it might have been more of a deer, maybe. It was coming in to see what we were doing. Maybe it was curious. I don't know. But then about 10, 15 minutes later, that very same spot, and I would say it was much bigger than me, but it wasn't much taller, maybe 7, 8 feet tall. Something, I saw the side profile of something walk by on 2 feet, not on, down on all fours or anything, on 2 feet. It took like one step. It stepped into the middle, and I could see I could see like its shoulder. I could see the shoulder. I could see hair. I could definitely see hair. It was dark. But again, it was really dark out. It was like 10:30 at night or something like that. Actually, it might have been later. It might have been closer to midnight. But I could see fur. It wasn't real long. But I could definitely see fur. I couldn't see the head. I could just see the shoulder. And I could see kind of the side. And it walked by, took one step, walked right through that clearing. And before that happened, actually, I saw how like a head peek out from around the bush that was there where the clearing is, looking at us. And then it walked by, and then it did exactly the same thing on the other side, peeked back out and looked at us. And that was very interesting. That, I don't have proof. It was just a visual sighting, and it was dark, but there was light up there, so you could kind of see. You could see a silhouette. And it wasn't a person, for sure. I know it wasn't a person, but it had the form of a person. So, and it was hairy. So I could definitely see the hair. I could see the hair. And I don't know if it was brown or black. It could have been lighter colored too. But it was essentially, it showed up in the light. That's the only reason I could see it. Kind of like you can see my face now. It was kind of like that. It was just a real quick, hey, I was actually looking in that direction. That's the whole reason I saw it. It was just maybe 2 or 3 seconds. It wasn't very long. I did not get up and chase it. I didn't do anything. We're being very careful on this case right now because this is a new place where we have not done any Bigfoot research before. We've not done any tree knocks. We haven't done any screams or howls. I want to make sure the neighbors understand what we're doing. They're all complaining of the same thing. They're saying there's people running around in the forest, and they're just showing up all over in different properties. Well, the person next to him has like $1 million property. The person above him, I think, also has $1 million property. They're just large properties. His is a smaller property, kind of sandwiched in between 2 very large properties, and across the way, across a little gravel road, there is another property. So, anyways, that's what we're working on. I'm going to hopefully get back. I don't know if I'm going to get back there this weekend or next weekend. It's supposed to be like 108 and 109 or something, and I'm hoping it possibly rains. But Friday's supposed to be like 107 or 108 out in that area, and then maybe 109 or so on Saturday, which is my 2 days I go out and investigate, Fridays and Saturdays. So at this point, it's just in the process of being put together into a show. I'm being really careful. I think once we start doing tree knocks, and you can only fool a Bigfoot once, and I want to make sure it's documented. If I do a tree knock and there's a response, I want to make sure it's documented. I want to have an audio recorder going. I want to have a video camera, at least one video camera going. Get some trail cams up. Maybe they'll make a mistake. Maybe they'll walk in front of a trail cam. Maybe we can get them on video on trail cam. So that's what's going on. That's what I'm trying to do. So, and Amanda's helping me as much as she can. And but it's just been so hot. It's been miserably hot. Being out in the woods right now is difficult. And we have to go out later in the evenings to get any footage. And so if it rains at all, I'm hoping to get some, maybe some footprints, maybe get some castings. I need to start looking around for hair samples, maybe, and other things. There is a barbed wire fence. Maybe they're coming closer to the barbed wire fence. Maybe there's a chance that I can get a sample of some hair. Anyways, I've been rambling for about 20 minutes here. So, all right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please hit that notification. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, whether you're on Rumble or YouTube channel. Please hit that notification bell, and please make sure that you're leaving a comment. If you like the podcast, please say you like the podcast. If you don't like it, please say you don't like the podcast. If you don't like the podcast, please let us know what you don't like. What is it that you don't like about the podcast? What can I do differently? What can I, give me some constructive criticism. Also remember that this is a PG-13 channel. I don't want people, leaving nasty remarks just because they want to leave a nasty remark. Those will not be shown. They will be deleted. So, anyways, again, thanks guys for listening. If you're on our channel, on our YouTube channel, be careful. They're unsubscribing people for some reason on a lot of different channels, especially the more controversial channels. I think this is more of a controversial channel because it's paranormal related. And then also just make sure you're hitting that notification bell because a lot of people are not getting notified of our new stuff. So, all right, guys. Thank you again. If you're not part of our Google group, our Facebook group, go ahead and go over to Facebook. The link's down below in the description. You can join our Facebook group, and you can get more content there. And then, if you want to follow us on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, we appreciate it. All right, guys. Sorry for the long rambling at the end here. We appreciate you, and thank you guys so much for your support and your comments and all the support you give us. We will catch you on the next one.